Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, how are we doing this evening or this morning or this whatever time it is when you decide to pop on this video? Had a dreary, rainy, wet day yesterday. Hopefully you guys are able to get outside a little today. It should be pretty nice and get some fresh air, kind of get out of the house a little bit. Um, so Need to start hearing back from some of you. Got a couple people who are consistently keeping up with their schoolwork. Very happy with that. There's a significant number of people who are not keeping up with their schoolwork. So you guys need to make sure you're keeping up with these things and getting this information so you're ready to go when we come back to a normal schedule. So, Monday, if you didn't watch Monday's video, go back and watch Monday's video because this is part 2 of what we did on Monday. So you need to watch that one first, then we can come to this one because this one's going to be day 2 of the Pythagorean theorem. Now you may know the Pythagorean theorem, but it'll help you if you go back and watch Monday's video. Couple of things. One, Pythagorean theorem. A lot of people know it. Okay, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Again, if you go back in the video, what's important about this is that your c squared, this one right here, is your hypotenuse. You identify the hypotenuse by finding the right angle, and it is the side across from the right angle. That's your hypotenuse. That's the important one. A and B, it doesn't really matter which one you call A, which one you call B, but the hypotenuse is important. These are going to be a little bit harder versions of the ones that we did on Monday. So that's why it's important for you to watch that video first. So here we go. Number 1, again, A and B, you could switch those up. That doesn't matter. This is the important one, the hypotenuse. It's opposite of the right angle. So I'm going to set up my Pythagorean theorem. X squared plus 1 squared equals 2 squared. So now we square the numbers. I have to get this x by itself. I've got to work to solve this equation. So now I have to subtract 1 from both sides. So we talked about this again last week. The opposite of squaring something is square rooting something. So when I get to this part of the equation, I'm going to square root both sides of the equation. Now, when I look at a square root like this, calculator is going to come in handy. That's going to give you something like 1.7. A lot of times on these square roots, you'll see it written just in square root form. Okay, it's important to keep in mind for the quiz that I'm going to put out this way. I'm going to give you about a 4-question quiz over these problems, nothing too crazy. I'm actually going to leave them in the square root form. Okay, so I really don't want you jumping on that calculator here. I want you leaving them in square root form. All right, it's more proper. So now we go to number 2. Again, identify your pieces. That's really helpful to get started here. So this is A, this is B, this is C. So again, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Notice the different setups on these two. On number 1, my variable was a leg. My variable was A, so my variable was with numbers. I had to subtract the 1. On this one, on number 2, I don't have to subtract anything. 50 equals x squared. I do want to solve this. Square root of 50. We're not going to talk about how to simplify that. It does simplify, but I'm perfectly happy if you leave your answer square root of 50 for right now. It's perfectly fine. All right, so moving on. Number 3, again, identify your pieces. So it doesn't matter which one you call A or which one you call B. Those are interchangeable. What's important is that this is my C, my missing side. I know it's C because it's directly opposite the right angle. That makes it C. The other two don't matter. So I have 2 square root of 3 squared. Calculator will come in handy here. I don't expect you to do this in your head. 2 times the square root of 3. So again, on the calculator, you're going to put parentheses. You're going to type it just like that with the parentheses. All right, and then square it. And when you punch that into the calculator, it should come out to be 12. 16. Getting ahead of myself there. That's 4. So again, put that in the calculator, should be 12. Practice, make sure you know how to use your calculator. Make sure you're getting the same answer that I am. Then when I add these together, I get 16. Square root both sides to get x by itself. Square root of 16. Now this one here, since this is a perfect square and it comes out to be a whole number, go ahead and answer that question, 16 squared. Furnace just kicked on, going to get a little louder. So here we go, number 4. Again, identify your parts and pieces. Here's my right angle. Opposite my right angle, that's my hypotenuse. These two don't matter. One's A, one's B. So here we go. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Pythagorean theorem every time. Identify your parts to make sure you put the numbers in the right spot. Grab a calculator. All right. When I punch this into the calculator, it should come out to be 16 times 3. I don't want to mess this up. $48. 48 plus b squared equals 64. So now again, the variables here, I got to get this variable by itself. So I solve the equation by subtracting 48 from both sides. That gives me b squared equals 16. Now, to get b by itself, we square root both sides. B is 4. So again, watch the video from Monday. It starts off with some easier problems. They're all whole number answers on Monday's stuff. Then come back to this one, a little bit harder, got some funky square roots. If the square roots doesn't come out to be a whole number, just leave it in square root form. If it doesn't come out to be a whole number, leave it in square root form. If it does come out to be a whole number, give me that whole number answer. All right, and then the last thing here, make sure you're setting your problems up correctly. Label your A's, your B's, and your C's. C is the important one. It's opposite the right angle. That's the one you have to get. The other two don't matter. All right, make sure you guys are taking care. Reach out if you have problems. Reach out to me, Mr. Carlos, Ms. Gannon, and make sure we get your stuff taken care of, and check in with these videos on a regular basis so you know what's going on. All right, take care, guys.